This is thy kingdom come. Let the spirit of the Holy One pass over. Let your peace cover the earth.
A new season of Spiritually Speaking and Awakening starts now. This week's episode is sponsored by Dollhouse of Tampa Salon and Studio. Find your inner doll. They offer quick weaves, sew-ins, and much, much more to fit every occasion. Need a wig? Selena's got you. She will customize a unit just for you. Book your next appointment on Booksy today. Did someone say nails? Honey, forget the Bayhive. Contact Queen Bee herself. She offers customized designer nails and even designer press-ons that she will customize and ship to you. Braids, and even twists. Book with Tiffany right on Facebook. Find your inner doll at Dollhouse Tampa Salon and Studio. Tampa. This week's episode is sponsored by Hustle and Bling. It don't mean a thing if you ain't got that bling. Lovely paparazzi designer pieces for only $5. That's right, $5. And don't worry about it if the kid gets in the jewelry box. They're only $5. Make sure you catch Allison Mondays and Tuesdays, Wednesdays and Thursdays live on Instagram and Facebook, promoting some of these wonderful fashion fixes that you'll enjoy. And if you miss it, check out the website. Don't mean a thing if it ain't got that bling. Hustle and Bling. Stay in Love TV is your production to distribution solution to getting your message seen and heard. Having your own TV show with Stay in Love TV has never been easier than now. Stay in Love TV gives you the power to share your message with the world. Stop watching TV and start being watched on TV. Stay in Love TV offers real-time multicasting, all with one click. This opportunity puts you on the world stage with an audience of over 200 million. In addition to your low monthly subscription fees, you will also receive monthly network coaching and training from the network itself to ensure that before your first show premieres, you are set up for success. We at Stay in Love TV bring over 20 years experience in sales, marketing, advertising, and business development. Stay in Love TV, purposeful entertainment driven by love, empowered with passion, fueled with faith. Go to www.stayinlovetv.com and let's get started.
This is thy kingdom come. Let the spirit of the Holy One pass over. Let your peace cover the earth. Lord, let your will be done. This is the time to take a stand, to let the world know that you can. You can face tomorrow, but today is the day that you say, I will reign. I will reign.
Can't hear you. Can't hear you.
I know, I was muted. What a way to launch the new season. Hello, everyone. Hello, I am Vanessa Klinger, your intuitive life strategist and life coach motivator.
And I was Cheryl Washington, your motivator and evolutionist. Namaste.
Yeah.
Bow to the divine presence in you.
Yep. So welcome, everyone. This is the new season that we're launching right here on Stay in Love TV. And it's been quite an interesting, since we went on sabbatical there, co-host. It's been quite an interesting experience thus far.
Yes, very challenging, but when it rains, it pours. That just lets you know there's something growing new. So we got a new season and a new reason to be excited about what God is doing in the universe.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Just so much going on. And you know what? Here's the thing. And we go, we have a great show tonight, folks. We have a great show. But you just tipped on something. So this is something that I'm starting to realize is the more that you are awake and disconnected from this system, this matrix that we are allowed ourselves to be a part of for so long, you start to see how everything's playing out, and you start to really keep everything in perspective and knowing what it really is. So although you may experience challenges, there are actually opportunities for you to just be more aligned with your higher self, because this is the great thing about Jesus and his story, right? Because the way they portrayed him was someone who was not moved by any of those situations or circumstances, except for that one moment, which I believe, and will die on this hill, that he was going through a dark night of the soul, and that's why he was having that experience. But and it was all about not allowing this world to impact and dissuade you or dislodge you from your anchor of peace that you get to experience being a part of God.
Yeah. Well, he's actually elevating us to escalate, which means he's taking us to a higher dimension, but it's going to escalate, meaning go faster than time than we've normally experienced in a time factor. We're moving out of time into the speed of light. And so he is taking us higher to take us faster into the places and the spaces that we have to be in order to be that light for the world.
Right. Awesome. Co-host, yeah. Let's get this party started. Ladies and gentlemen, we have an exciting show for you tonight as we kick off the new season. We have Dr. Jo Dee Baer, America's Health Coach. And we had her last season, and she brought such joy and wisdom to us. And she's just going to join us as we kick off the show tonight. She'll be a part of all the segments that we're on. So let's bring her in, ladies and gentlemen. Dr. Jo Dee Baer.
Yay!
Hi, Dr. Jo Dee.
Long time no see.
Oh, it's great to see y'all again. My goodness gracious. I am so honored, Vanessa and Michelle. Y'all have to just excuse us. We're just going to have some girl talk. And if you want to kind of feel us, that's all right. You know, if you get something, but it's all about us together. But seriously, I am honored. And it's such a privilege to kick off your second season. Congratulations on you living your truth, Dr. Michelle and the amazing Vanessa. You went and did this not only in empowering, in an empowering way, but you did it escalating. I've got a new E word, Michelle. I got your escalated word because I said it's excellence. So we're going to tee this off on the tee with y'all and Dr. Jo Dee. Let's go.
Yeah. So we Michelle and I met, and we, every time before we we plan for the upcoming season, and we were having some discussions, and our theme for this season is supernatural visitations. And then we thought about all of these key players in the scriptures who had those experiences. So we thought it would be a good opportunity to bring that to this season and to bring more enlightenment and encouragement to others. And we wanted to start off, kind of in a linear, progressive way. And we wanted to start off with Adam, Dr. Jo Dee. So, yeah, what would you consider a supernatural visitation, Dr. Jo Dee?
I've had several, Vanessa. That's a really good question. And Dr. Michelle, I know that I had a spontaneous healing when I had a situation when I was 22. They said I would never walk again, and I had nerve dystrophy, a part of a muscular dystrophy. Well, that didn't happen. You know about the story that I put in my first book, Ignite the Hunger in You with Les Brown, when I was paralyzed from the shoulders on down, and I walked out of that hospital. Well, my book was a supernatural visitation because I had two sons, 15 and 17. Those were their ages, but they were also their shoe sizes. I'm saying a sole support of these two sons, and my paycheck, because of reorganization with the company I thought I was set, went from a multiple 5-figure a month income. Okay. The first number was not a 1. We were doing well, to 5,000 a month. And I thought, this isn't going to even buy their cereal for a month, knowing that they were elite athletes. And me being a musician, I always said a supernatural visitation. Obstacles turned into opportunities. There's always a door to go through if you just open the door. Me being a musician, I knew everything I'd poured into this company. I thought, why don't I pour it into me? And the 21 days program began in 1997. I said to myself, Handel wrote the Messiah in 21 days. Why don't I do the same? And it just, now I've got to set this, this was during dial-up. We had one computer in the house, and my sons were downstairs fighting over the computer. I hand wrote every part of this coursework that became an 8-figure company, which became then my dissertation. As I found the manuscript, check this out, in 2020, after I was paid royalties for my company. In the meantime, Bob Baer and I get married. In the meantime, the 21 days became not only coursework to feed and clothe and house us, it became a dissertation. Now it's become a book. And that truly, I'm humbled and honored to say this has been a visitation for real.
That sounds like it. I mean, and that's a great, okay. We're going with the flow tonight. So that's when one gets to experience a personal visitation personally themselves.
Yes.
It creates opportunities. So that experience that you were having, you were fed those spiritual seeds that you needed to produce, give birth to something that you're still benefiting from and others, because you were open enough to allow that visitation to happen. Spiritually
speaking, Vanessa and Michelle, I believe that if we keep our spirits open, you've always heard our minds are like a parachute, keep it open. How about our spirits? When we keep our spirits open, you can feel it, you can see it. And I heard it. And taking past experiences, no matter how big the skyscrapers, that foundation had to be dug even further down in. I had to go in for this. I had to go into my soul and figure what was I going to do. Then I went down into my experience being a classically trained musician. I thought, shoot, I'm just going to go into a studio. This is no different than singing. I'm just going to be saying. And the coursework was born, and we just, you go with the flow, because when you're in the flow, you swim down the river of life, the way our Creator all wanted us, and we were meant to swim. True?
Agree.
True. So most of the times the supernatural visitation is an experience.
Yes.
And unless we have those, then it's just a story that we heard from somebody else. So God allows us to experience, because you can tell the story better than you hearing it from somebody else. So this whole last 3 years have been for me an experience of me finding out who I am in God. I am a true creator because my God is a true creator. And I've had to create ways, and I get emotional about it, because I've had to create ways to keep me and my family together through an eviction. The car transmission went out. I was diagnosed with something that I didn't have. It's been like a roller coaster, and it's been tough. But I know that my spirit will sustain any infirmity, not just sickness, anything that comes financial, anything. So the supernatural visitation for me is a consistent communication of knowing that I am in the image of my Creator.
Love that. My mother always said, you know why you were right on, Michelle? Every time that somebody says something that resonates, Vanessa, you did it, and then Michelle did it. Now my nose is really itching. That's the way I get my intuition in my brain. I got an itchy nose. I got an itcher on that one. And you know, my mother said in her Norwegian accent, Jody, you know it in your knower.
Yeah, and I say that too. When I know it within, I don't have to look on the outside to see if I'm winning, because on the inside I already won. So it's not based on the material thing. It's just based on seeking God and knowing who you are. I found out who I am because I asked God, show me who I am. I didn't know he was going to show me through calamities, through all kind of things going left that should have went right. But today, you know, I'm at the point where whatever happens is for my good. Even when it don't feel good, look good, it's still for my good. So I trust God through every situation, even when it's uncomfortable for me. So that's my supernatural visitation on a daily basis. Believe me, these last 3 years has been just like this, hit after hit. And sometimes you just don't know how it's going to work, but you just have to have that inside knower that it will work.
Right. And what I learned from, because I mean, I went, because, and I don't know, I discuss astrology in this place sometimes. So because of the way my astrological signs are aligned in order, I experienced a series of like 10 years. And I really believe, now that I reflect back on it, that that was my agreement to getting on the fast track of transformation. Right. And it really was, I don't regret it. I'm so grateful for it. And the thing is because I was going back to being open. I was open because growing, having a strong religious background and really just it really required a lot of courage for me to step out and be open and kind of march to the beat of my own drum. So by the time I got to that timeline in my life, I had experienced enough of variety and spirituality to the point where I attracted the information that I needed to kind of alert me as to what's coming. So I just got to work, and it was rough, homelessness, everything, cars, losing, and the whole song and dance. I experienced it all. Death, shocking deaths, health, everything, So what I'm alluding to is this, and my point is that was when I experienced my spiritual visitations.
Yes.
And when I got out of it, when it was over, it's like my connection with source, it's nothing could cause it to be disconnected. And I know that, and I know, and because of that experience, it just really, it strengthened and stabilized my faith in whatever that is out there, or whoever it is. I choose to call it love, but it just strengthened and stabilized all that to where, I'm like, and certain things and habits, and, because we have you on as our, getting your health together tonight, that's going to be next segment. I noticed that certain habits, as I was focused just on my spirit and strengthening and becoming a better Vanessa and falling in love with her, the certain habits just fell away from me. And because I had tunnel vision, I'm like, I'm just going to focus on, I could lose it all. I don't care. I've had stuff. I can get this back. I need to make sure that I'm right, God. I want to make sure that my character that I'm portraying in this realm, that I'm serving and giving you glory and everything. So if this is what it's going to take for me, that when I experience this massive abundance, or if it comes or whatever, that I am spiritually ready for that.
Mhm.
And I mean, I don't regret any of it. It was rough, you know, but now I'm not attached to anything materially. I'm not.
And that's beautiful. Vanessa, Michelle, my banner verse is Romans 8:28. You know, it says all things. It doesn't say, it says all things. It didn't say, and are good for us. And it doesn't say some of the time. It doesn't say part-time. It says all the time, all the time, all the time. And I know when you've heard me speak before, and for your wonderful audience, that I've talked about the 6 pillars of human existence. It starts with spiritual. Get your spiritual life right. And if you're physically sound, mental, emotional, social, and financial will fall in place. The end. Subject closed. It's a fact. We could end this broadcast with this, because it really, really, it all comes around to that spiritual. It comes to that spiritual peace. And when in ancient Chinese medicine and holistic health, we talk about staying, as you were saying, stay in love. I've never shared this before, but the minute you catch yourself, ladies and gentlemen, you catch yourself in frustration, you're down the degenerative path to anger, hatred, disease, and death. Ain't no way about it. But when you catch yourself in frustration, say, I will choose joy, because you know what the next regeneration one is? Love. After love is passion, and then ecstasy. Let's go for it all, shall we, this season?
Mm-hmm. I'm up for it. Yep. Yep. I'm up for it.
Well, you're reaching for wholeness, because when you talk about healing, you're talking about wholeness, returning back to your wholeness. And a lot of people don't see that that's what healing is. It's just, firstly, it's mentally convincing yourself, because we've been conditioned to think the opposite. Mentally conditioning yourself to say, I'm whole, not just I'm going to be whole. We're always speaking in the future, but only thing that matters is right now, because there is no future right now. There's only this moment. And so when we get into the I amness, because anything that comes behind I ams is saying it's going to be done. And so you're saying I am whole, even when you feel your worst. If you begin to convince yourself, I had to convince myself, all of this storm around me has nothing to do with my wholeness.
Yeah.
It is a distraction from my wholeness. And so just tonight, when we're talking about supernatural visitations, the first thing you have to do is convince yourself that you are worthy to have one. Most people think they're not. They think you have to be in a certain category to experience a spiritual visitation. But what we would like to bring to the table is that convince yourself that you're worthy of that. You are more than enough. You don't have to do anything else. If you convince yourself of that, you can open yourself up to growing, to greater, to elevation, so you can escalate.
Yes, I mean, elevate, escalate to excellence. And Michelle, I was just thinking, day 8, I'm just giving little tidbits when they just drop into my spirit, but it's creating a burning desire. And when you know it in your knower, and it's burning, like you've just burned a tattoo on your body, you've just inked it in permanent. It's burned in your soul. There was an existential philosopher where I went to school, and I was acquainted with Soren Kierkegaard. He very, very well known in Europe, not so much here, but he said it's Kairos in your Chronos. Chronos being your lifeline, Kairos being those moments. That intersection, Michelle, you had that moment. I had that moment when I was paralyzed. I had that moment when I said, Heavenly Father, what am I going to do? These boys need more than $5,000 to live. That was their swimming bill. And I knew I wasn't going to get it elsewhere with the husband. So what was I going to do? Yeah, so he had a name. He has always had a name. And I said, so when I listened, and during that time, Vanessa, Michelle, I fasted when I wrote. That was my choice. I'm not saying that everybody should do that. It was just my story, because I wanted to be clean so I could hear. Mm-hmm. And that is that spiritual speaking. And I mean, you're never the same. You will never be the same. We're going to watch this. And Michelle, you were talking about I am. I mean, We know in the Old Testament, this other A after Adam came this dude called Abraham. His name changed because he said, I am. And he birthed the nation from Abram to Abraham. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. So we have like 2 minutes. So let's focus on Adam because that's the topic. But I love how everything's just flowing. So, okay, co-host, what is your perspective on Adam's supernatural visitation? What's your perspective on that?
Well, basically, everything in what we read in the Bible is spiritual. And a lot of times we try to study it on a physical level. We put God on a physical level, but he's so much deeper than that. But Adam, to me, is like atom, atom. Adam is atoms are what we're made out of, what we're created out of. And 99% of the atom is spiritual and 1% is material. And so Adam's supernatural visitation was just him being placed in charge over the kingdom. And that's what we should be returning back to, because Adam handed off the kingdom to an entity that had no business having it. And that's a mindset. So Adam, to me, his spiritual supernatural visitation was his birth. All he had was God. And that's really all we have. All he had was God. So he had a visitation that was his lifestyle before everything was interrupted. So the Adam is what we're created out, spiritually created out of atoms that you cannot even see unless it's under a particular instrument. And so when we get back to the invisible and bring it to the visible, we're going to continue to have a moment to moment, not just a supernatural visitation here and there, but it's a consistency way of living as Adam was living. Every day he walked with God, he talked with God. God gave him authority to name the animals. Who comes up with some of these names? If you just know all these categories, that had to be supernatural. Who could, if we just sit here and say, let's name some new animals, we would be like, what? So I'm saying this supernatural thing, we as spiritual people have to believe and know that it's consistent. It's not a miracle here and a miracle there. It's a consistent, because there's no timeline in the spirit. It's only in the physical. So that's my take on Adam having this supernatural experience continuously, to the point he didn't even know he needed some help. He thought it was all that. And so I'm not there. But just like Eve's name is evolving, I'm evolving from Adam, who was the total spiritual connection. And so we've got to see that. We've got to see ourselves evolve. It's not about a house. No, God told me we're living in a hotel now. One room. God told me this is really all you need. You have a kitchen, you have a bathroom, and you have a place to sleep. This is really all you need. Anything else is just extra. And so I don't know if people can get that. If we all had to just go live in one room with your family, it's like we've gotten so spoiled.
Yeah. It's those experiences though that will, it's really to make you, to guarantee that you're no longer attached to any material thing.
Right.
That's what it is.
It's seeking, it says seek the kingdom. And I broke it down to see the king. If we can see that we are in this place and space of ruling over a kingdom, just like heaven is ruling over the heavenly kingdom, we will begin to see things different. God told me to see things in a different light. So everything that I've been seeing, I put a different light on it, which means from the negative, changing the negative to the positive.
Right. And, we're going to wrap it up with that, because I mean, I've been homeless and lived in rundown hotels and rooming houses and, renting a room, you know, with a bunch of ex-cons and people in a big, huge room. All of this stuff. And that's the one thing that I can say is that it really just helped me to also realize I only need one room. It's just me. This is before Hot Dog. It was just me, you know. And it's wonderful though, because this place isn't our home anyway. So why would I be wrapped up, tied up, tangled up in some house or something if a hurricane comes through and blows it away, God forbid? Why would I be concerned about that when I know that, hey, if this place isn't my home and I'm here on assignment, this has been what I've been preaching ever since. I'm like, look, I know this place isn't my home, so I'm not going to allow myself to get entangled with material things because I'm here on assignment. And I know that when you're in service, all of your provisions are made for, are provided for you. So
and when you're just stripped.
Let me, if you finish my point, please. So what that does is that helps you to when you know that you are here of being of service, all your provision will be made. And what this does, this creates that space of abundance in your spirit. Yes. Because now none of these things move me. You operate from a space of detachment. And ironically, when you operate from a space of detachment, that's when everything comes to you. Mm-hmm. That's been my experience, and more in abundance. Go ahead, co-host. What were you going to say?
Sometimes when you're just stripped of everything, you really know that you love God. Yes. Because it's never a time that I felt like God left me, because those were things. So I'm just saying, as this experience is, I know God is going to do something greater. But he's getting my spirit to a point where I know that he's all I need. And I know that sounds cliche, but I am grateful for everything I lost, because he didn't need that to bless me. So for those people that are going through something and thinking about giving up, that's not an option in the spirit, because in the spirit you have everything. So I'm emotional because, like you said earlier, I'm still here. There could have been multiple things that I could have done or walked away from God, but that didn't happen because it's showing me my love for him. So that's all I was saying about everybody that has an experience like this. You acquire different things that are greater than the experience.
Always. You always do. It's the pressure. And this was something that, we were growing up in the church. So all the preachers would be talking about that pressure and this pressing, and there's scriptures about squeezing the olives and making the oil, and that breaks forth and brings that anointing. And it's the truth, because when you are in those pressurized situations, when your back's against the wall, where you just, whatever it is, blow after blow after blow, and you keep getting back up, and the next day, you may have falling apart on your face, screaming and, having a tantrum the day before, but then you wake up the next day and you're a little bit stronger because you allowed yourself to sleep, and the angels came and ministered to you while you were resting to strengthen you, and you wake up, and then you start to realize, you'd be like, man, every day I'm still here. And if you hold on to that, whatever it is that you're going through, those pressurized situations, it's going to make you feel so impenetrable, because you finally realize, you finally put everything in perspective, because then you start to realize that none of this stuff means anything. That's that quote saying, whatever you do for Christ is the only thing that will last. So, make all the money you want to. I mean, if that's your aspiration, go ahead. But what else are you doing? What else kind of value? Because we know that money is something created by man. We know that. So we know that that's just, it's not real. So the thing is, so if you, while you're going through those pressurized situations and circumstances and you feel like you've just been stripped, that's good, because it's getting down to the raw, because now you're going to develop the better skin, because a new layer of protection of where you're going. So all that was getting rid of all that superficial, superfluous, extra stuff that didn't need to be a part of you for that next journey. So yeah, you're stripped, all right, but naked in the spirit. But get ready, because you get ready for your glory.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Yay! Okay.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Because myself, I just said, ladies, when I have ever been reduced, I've always produced after it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm reduced, you produce. Whatever that new wineskins.
Mm-hmm. Wow. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to transition into our next segment. We're going to take a station break. And then when we come back, we're just going to give the floor to Dr. Jo Dee, and she's going to tell us everything about what she has upcoming, the summit, the new book launch, the TV shows. Oh my goodness. So excited. So go grab yourself a refreshing beverage. And when we come back, we're going to talk to Dr. Jo Dee about getting your health together.
Say goodbye. I'll take you to the park. Say goodbye. Say goodbye, hot dog. There you go. There we go.
Right along with Vanessa Morning Show streams Fridays, 8 a.m. Central Standard Time. Stay in love. Join us next Sunday, April 30th, for another exciting episode of Spiritually Speaking and Awakening with our special guest, Irene Vaxberg. Join us, won't you? Stay in love.
That's right. That's right. Next week we have Irene Vaxberg who will be joining us, and so I just love how things just fall into place, because we're talking about not giving up, and that's what next week's segment is going to be on, not quitting, not giving up. But tonight, with Dr. Jo Dee in the house, our segment tonight is Get Your Health Together. Dr. Jo Dee, get your health together. How can we get it better? How can we get it together?
Easy, easy, easy.
Mm-hmm.
I've said this, with my 43 years, my 4 decades of doing this, I will give you easy, sustainable, and effective tips. I'm going to tell you the very best thing. I'm going to share with you the very best thing. You go to my website, drjodee.com. I should have gone ahead and charged for this ebook, but I did not. And guess what? I don't care, because I've served so many people. I think I've had 50,000 downloads of that book, that ebook, in the last 2 years. This Wisdom Tidbits is the newest one, but when you go to my blog site, it says 10 rituals to rock your day. When you go ahead and take the 10 rituals to rock your day, there's not one thing in there that I haven't done, I'm not presently doing, didn't do before we went on here, taking that extra piece of meditation. And it's as easy as starting with gratitude, getting the flow, as we've gone through, is number 2. Number 3 is going ahead and doing those sun salutations to get you up and going. I give details about the Qigong walk, which will physically get you going better cardiovascularly than anything. But before you leave the door, you actually splash your water with cold. That cryogenic, I've got to step into an ice bath. Start with your face, your head, your brain. It wakes you up. Tongue depressor, to go ahead and scrape your tongue after you've done an oil. I use frankincense. If it was good enough for my Savior, it's good enough for me. And get that digestive enzymes that come up and make your body acidic. It will turn you immediately alkaline. Then you go out the door, come back, take a shower, and you use hot, cold, hot, cold, hot, cold, ending in cold on your spine, because it will heighten your immune system. We've talked enough about immune system. And then do a slight meditation set. But Jo Dee, there are 10 things. Let me tell you something. It takes me an extra 30 minutes in the morning and 15 minutes at night. Are you not worth 45 minutes a day to do those things with that exercise? And as you just had this new ebook, this was just one of those supernatural downloads, because 21 days, how did this come about with this new book? My new book, In Circadian Rhythm, 21 days to make or break a habit. Ladies, it's just not us that has a cycle. I don't anymore because I'm way past that, but having a cycle of 21 days, guess what? Men have a cycle too. And when you break this down, when I was with a predominantly women's company way back, like a really long time ago, and I was a consultant, had all females underneath this management, I had them put their PMS cycle on a calendar because I wanted to know. Because it helped me, help them through that, just energetically help them through that, and having those times. So coming back to 21 days, that's a circadian rhythm. 7 days. I mean, our creator all made this earth, and Adam came in it in 7 days. That's our theme tonight. And then thinking about that, you go ahead then in every single day, you have these 3 cycles. You have AM, PM, and evening. And you can do that. And that's a divine number. When you follow these cycles every single day, there's 21 days to your best you. You will have health tips. You will know what to do. It's keyed up with 7 days of keys. That's you and you, because you're the only person that will never leave you. Husbands and wives may, and children better at some time, right? So it's you and you. Then you and others, you and your world. That's how it's laid up. And the wisdom tidbits are just me taking a spiritual pillar tidbits, 3 a day. You can do it on the run, like Vanessa with your puppy in the car, and you just do your thing. It will give you spiritual information and motivation.
Thank
So
you
let
so
me
much.
ask you, because it's like I get these downloads in the shower. So as being an involutionist, people don't understand what that is, but it means going inside and evolving the answer to the situation. So a lot of us, like 24/7, are tense. That's what God was showing me. Like, even if you just check yourself, either you're about to grit your teeth or muscles are tightened. So he told me to do deep breathing every time I think of it, which releases you from stress. And I noticed that I'm in emergency mode more than I'm aware that I was in it. So he told me to deep breathe and relax, and just be conscious of what part of my body is tight.
Yes.
And it's helped me to like get out of emergency mode. So I'm thinking, how many other people are just walking around every day in emergency mode, which is a temporary mode to fight or flight, and just constantly in that mode? Is that like, am I hearing right? Because that's just that's what I heard.
100%, 1,000%, because one of the things that's on the rise is kidney failure. We're talking about the physical pillar. Why? I talked about this on your show last time, because your adrenals they're like little sun hats, and they sit on top of your kidneys. Guess what? Every time that you're in stress, they get smaller and smaller and so on. So just like this, all of a sudden, there's no sun hat. Those kidneys are going to get sunburned. You can revive them. That's why I'm a big one believing in cleansing and detoxing and doing those things. And when you're feeling that breath, when you're just talking about this, Dr. Michelle, take 3 deep breaths. But if you put one hand here, put it right in your sternum, or like we'd say, between our boobalicious boobs, and then you put it behind you in your thoracic, between your shoulder blades. And when you feel that breath, it's going to push your thoracic out and your chest out as well. That's how you breathe in and breathe out. And that will absolutely be enough, because so many times, take 3 deep breaths. That's not enough. But if you have those 2 things moving, that's your heart chakra. That makes sense now, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Because the doctor did diagnose me with stage 2 kidney failure.
Well, guess what? The body put in the right condition can and will heal itself. I'm living proof, Michelle. You know
Me
that,
too.
Vanessa.
Me too.
You know that, and that's because you have been in that fight or
Emergency
flight,
room. Yeah.
that emergency to urgency,
Yeah.
and it has to, you release it with that. I'm a big one with that circadian rhythm in a daily thing, because you wake up yang with yang. You know, your yin with yang are getting through, and then you go at noon. That's where that power luncheon is. But so many people don't detox or defrag in the late afternoon. I had to teach myself this, but it's a thing, just taking out that time to meditate. If you've never done this before, just close your eyes and breathe. I just showed you how to breathe. Amazing things will happen.
Okay.
Yes.
That's wonderful.
That's so true. Wow. I'm telling you, because it's like, okay, you're asking, so why is that? Because this system that we're in and is engineering a way, because that Bible scripture says in the last days men's hearts will fail them due to fear. So if you're in flight mode all the time, then you're more susceptible to dropping dead.
Yes, because you're in that fear mode. There are more heart attacks and stroke that happen on Monday morning because people fear going back to work. So you go in that frustration mode. That's fear. Remember, fear. Going to confidence, as we know, confidence tones, but going into that beyond fear, you will get to that joy. You will feel that confidence of what you're going to do. I mean, I am living proof. You can see behind me that I've got my 2 books that I've done as anthology books. Those are 2 stories. When I said earlier on, I was paralyzed from the shoulders on down. And my mother said, Jo Dee, the doctors only see what they see. Michelle, I'm talking to you. The doctors only see what they see. They don't know who you are, Michelle. My mother said, they don't know who you are, Jo Dee. And I turned it around. They gave me 6 months to live. It's the story that I wrote when I thought it was just a beauty spot that had grown. It was stage 4 melanoma. They gave me 6 months to live. I turned that around. That was 22 years ago. I love doctors. If I sprained my ankle jogging 6 weeks ago, okay, and I was concerned because of where it was. It just thinking, I wonder whether I broke it. Better get it X-rayed. I didn't go to a health coach. Now I knew what to take energetically, but I went to a doctor to get an X-ray. But then it's physician heal thyself.
Right.
And will heal yourself. And it's that vibration. It's that staying in that confidence beyond that fight or flight. When you get yourself going to frustration, I'm going to go ahead and take that. You know, I've never done this on air. I guess I was meant to do that. And we're coming out with an anthology book in June. And I told the story of angels, or as I call them, messengers on the shoulder, close to where you are, Vanessa, in Tampa. And I was run off the road by a drunk driver. And I didn't drive for 18 months. And I know I had a visitation. Now, I'm telling you, a creator of all's got real good taste. I bet Adam was a hunk, and I bet Eve was boobalicious. I bet she was beautiful, because he only gives the best. And when those messengers came to pull me out of a car that then burnt to a crisp as soon as they got me out, for real. Okay. Those 2 angels, those 2 messengers looked like Prince Harry and Owen Wilson. I always said, he's got some good taste. He must have some good taste in us too. We are no prospector of persons. So I just believe in when writing your story. And I didn't know, Michelle and Vanessa, I was going to write this book. I said earlier that it turned into a coursework out of necessity, obstacles to opportunity. And I thought to myself, okay, I've got this series now. What do I do? And my oldest son, had just been recruited, and he was a freshman at Georgia Tech. And he said, Mom, we just had a motivational speaker. See, sometimes those messengers unaware, you got to listen. You got to listen, because it's very seductive. It's not like a neon sign. My son, who said, Ma, there was this motivational speaker at Georgia Tech, spoke to the athletes. Mom, she was horrible. Mom, you could do better standing on your head with the flu with one arm tied behind your back. I guess that was a compliment. And he said, I think you need to talk to the athletic director. I know that you spent all this time in the studio. I think that would be great for the athletes to hear. And that message in my ear turned into me speaking at over 200 NCAA schools on peak performance. Wow. It turned into a Department of Defense contract. And it just go because I heard. And that when you breathe, I'm just feeling like this is our message for tonight. When you breathe, you take time to be still. Because I'm on the go, Michelle and Vanessa. You know that. And Vanessa, you know me real well. It's
always busy. Mm-hmm.
Oh, but it's productive busy. There's a difference. But you take that time to be still, slow down to speed up. And that's when I did, never to have something, only doing one thing at a time. I was still living in Atlanta. I thought, boys are gone. I think I'm going to go and start doing my PhD work. I didn't know. Guess what happened? Next thing you know, I get it done. But then things happened. The economy downturned. I had to go ahead and do something in corporate consulting with health. So it stayed on the side. That's okay. That vision will come to fruition. And what happened? 2010, Bob Baer came in my life, and he proposed to me with terms and conditions. And it took me about 3 seconds to sell my company back to my reps. And I became Mrs. Bob Baer. Did I know I was cashing those royalty checks for 10 years? 2020 comes. I was busy because I wasn't going to watch Netflix. And I found this coursework that was handwritten by me. I thought, this is my dissertation. I wrote my dissertation over COVID. And the rest of it is the 21 days to your best you. Once I defended my dissertation, I said to my husband, who is a New York Times bestselling author, his books in the permanent archives in the Library of Congress. Am I proud of him? He's something else. And I said, honey, do you think I could write one book all by myself? Could it be, or can I do this? Can it be possible? And he goes, well, it's a lot better than it just being a very thick placemat on our dining room table. Now, that was another voice that I heard. That wasn't exactly the compliment I was going to expect, but it was what needed to happen. Listen to those whispers of your own wisdom, because in those whispers in your ear, there's life. There's hope, and it's your next move, vision to fruition.
That's so
that
true.
breathing stops you.
Yes.
It stops you from thinking. It just slows you down, like you said, because we're so busy doing. But every time you're doing that deep breath, it just slows you down. So that I will add what you just added for that last breath, because the breathing itself has just slowed me down from overthinking, from thinking about tomorrow when it's not even here. It really has slowed me down. So adding that, I appreciate that nugget that you submitted.
Of course, always.
It's a form of meditation. It's a form of getting you centered, because this is Bible scripture. None of these things move me. Paul was thrown in prison. He was up to his nose in shite in prison, being beaten and all of this, but he managed to write that. None of these things move me. And the great thing about meditation, see, this is you are evolving, Michelle. You're evolving. So now you're adopting the practice of deep breathing, which is just another form of meditation. It's going to get you centered. It's going to get you right there where you're in the center of it all, because your desire was to although things were swirling around you and all of that, it was not, you were going to be centered. Yeah, I'm loving how all three of us actually, as we wrap, but we're going to give you a couple minutes to talk about all your shows, Dr. Jody. But the last couple of years, we were, I know I was in a totally different headspace and place and timeline in 2019 going into 2020. And so much has changed for all three of us, to the fact that lets us know that, in spite of whatever it is, it's, I just know that if I had to pack up and leave tomorrow, or get me a hot dog and I get in the car, or something horrible happens, whatever, I just believe that it's a part of my journey and my story, and it's only temporary. But that came from having those dark nights of the souls and going through those experiences, for me to finally realize, hey, it's just me. I cannot depend on anyone else but me and God, and the God in me. And when you get to this place, you won't be looking for adoration or assistance or someone coming to save you externally and this and that, because of everything you're going through. You'll stop that. You'll say, you know what? Yep, this is it. So what are we going to do now? You really start to resort to tapping into the source of all things, because therein lies your answers and solutions to everything.
Everything is about, because how you do one thing, you do everything. And Vanessa, I said the first 7 days are about you and you, I'm all going to say, I'm asking your audience, go buy the book. Why? Because we had an absolute, it's been absolutely a horrific situation. My graphic artist was burned in a fire, and 12 of her girlfriends all perished. There was no exit for this historic building. So what we decided to do, Ignite Publishing, we build schools of hope. Okay. We're building a school in Pakistan in honor of Danya Safar. That's where she was from. She was a beautiful soul. And I just decided, guess what? You go ahead and buy my book. Not only will you get it discounted on my website, but did I say all the proceeds between now and the end of May will go to the School of Hope, because that's about giving back. That's how we give back to others when we're in real. I wrote this down, days 8 through 14, about being real. I tell the story of David. He was the Old Testament version of an Uber driver. He didn't have something great. Oh, no. They didn't say he was going to be king, but he did what he needed to do. And Michelle, I'm telling you, in this season, this past season, you did what you needed to do. Just wait until we see a crown on your head, Queen. Just saying, that's what's going to happen here. We're going to do it one-on-one consultation about you and those adrenals. I'm just feeling it. But this is what I know, is that then you go in you and your world. And I'm going to make a real disclaimer. This book will change your life if you need it to, because you know what? It has things on health, but it has things on you. It's a handbook. It's a handbook of those, how I went from having this obstacle turned opportunity, how I was able to take this coursework to 2,000 corporations, Fortune 100 and 500. It's just now boiled down. I knew that I needed to do this for everyone. And there will be something in it for you, then pass it on. And that's what we do in life now, isn't it?
Yeah. Like I said, it's not the story, it's the experience. And you get so much education from the inside out as to how your relationship with God is a consistent growth to greater. That's why I said it's going to be greater, because I asked God a long time ago, why I always have to suffer? He says, not suffering, it's preparation. And so that's how I shed a different light on everything. This is not the first time I've been through something, but this impact has been one of the greatest impacts. It's been back to back to back to back. It's like time I recover from this is something else. It's like being in a boxing ring and the person just hitting you, and time you recover. And then God says, you're not a survivor, you're an overcomer. So every hit that you have is going to take you over to something else, into a different space. So that's why I came. That's why he gave me I'm elevating you to escalate you. And I'm taking the time factor out of it.
And to excellence. You're excellent. I see, Vanessa, you just asked me, day 17, simply don't quit, which leads into your guest for next week. She's such a lucky woman. She's going to be on stage with you, because I will say, winners never quit and quitters never win. We know that. Who remembered any of the almosts? Nobody knows who almost won the New York Marathon. Nobody knows who almost hit the not bronze medal in the Olympics. No, but we know the Wright brothers. We know people like that. The list goes on and on. We don't know. We know who Steve Jobs is, and we know you, because when the definition of a winner is the winner wins on the muddiest of fields, and a quitter doesn't even find the field, even with the best and purest intentions. Intentions don't win. It can be the perfect. Everybody's waiting till it's perfect. No, we make it perfect because of our purpose. And because of our purpose, then as you know, stay in love. I want to leave you with this little tidbit. This is a wisdom tidbit for Vanessa and Michelle. Because in day 21, I talked about the love doctor, Leo Buscaglia. And he said, we are spirit. Are we spirit or are we humans? No. And it's not a physical being. We are spiritual beings in a human experience. Mm-hmm. And when we can remember being those spiritual beings in a human experience, we'll experience everything what we want to experience. And if I can just take 30 seconds, Michelle and Vanessa, I want to honor your time and honor your hour here. But the book launch, or my book launch, is the 17th of May. Leave a comment on Amazon. We've already hit international bestseller, but then we are going to have, because I just like to party. Okay, we are doing a virtual summit with everyone. You've heard these names: Forbes Riley, JB Owen, Blanca Perper. Yes, everybody. Kim Jacobs, Les Brown, Manny Lopez, Rex Sykes, Josh Payne, Renee Brown, Doctors Bill Janicek, Van Thielen, Michael Pearson, Caxton O'Perry, my medical team, Maynard Neal, Tom Chesser, Dame Doria Cordova is going to be speaking from Vietnam, Christopher Rouse, my mentor and guru, Dr. Jim Marinakis, Forbes Riley, and Dr. Khalil Ali, that stands in excellence all by herself, the wife of Muhammad Ali. It's going to be from 10 to 2. It will be on my network. It will be on YouTube. It will be on Facebook. It will be everywhere. You will hear what a life of excellence is going to be. And then Vanessa and Michelle come back, because we are going to have a party on Sunday from 3 to 5, because I believe whatever condition, wherever you are in life, it's always to be celebrated, because what you do in this macro living in life is what you experience in your micro living in the day. Mm-hmm. So just come to that micro living to have your macro life. Mm-hmm. I want to honor and just love on my Stay in Love co-queens. Mm-hmm. You are just amazing what you are doing right here on your network, right here in your world. And I know you will just stay in that love, because after love, all right, is absolute passion and ecstasy. And Adam, for me, Adam, as he's called, stands for attitude, desire, acuity with your eyes, because you were meant to do what only you can do. Thank you, Vanessa and Michelle.
Oh, Dr. Jo Dee. Wow. Whew. Yes, that was just such, I felt the love and I felt the blessing and everything. And it's just so honored and humbled and grateful. We have Rex on this season. He agreed to be a guest, so he'll be on in a couple of weeks. So thank you, Rex. We're getting him scheduled. But yeah, so grateful that you were able to join us tonight. And I'm in just a very good, sweet spot spiritually, because I'm in this space of just peace and gratitude. And, supernatural visitations should be your desire, because when you do, it's those conversations that you had before you even entered human form. That's how I see it. When you have those supernatural visitations where you feel the spirit of our Creator and that conversation internally, that dialogue that you're having, and the response, it's like you're having that conversation, that spiritual conversation. I believe that when you experience those, it's a taste of the way it used to be before we became Adam. So
Yes. My
yeah,
nose is itching again. My nose is itching again. You were spot on.
yeah. So grateful for you, Dr. Jody. So join us next week, guys, when we have Irene Baxberg on. So she's amazing. She has a wonderful testimony, health testimony. She discovered this wonderful product, and it gave her ability to be able to walk again. So lots of great experience. So if you have some time, Dr. Jody, check it out. She has a great story, and I think she would be a great guest on your shows.
Wonderful.
On Traverse TV. So yeah. But so thank you, everyone. Co-host, thank you so much. Peace and blessings to you. Thank you, Dr. Jody. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in tonight. Thank you for catching on the replay. Thank you for sharing and caring. I'm Vanessa Klinger, your intuitive life strategist and life coach motivator, and I want to thank each of you guys for tuning in.
I was just breathing in. I'm Michelle, your motivator.
All right, let's sign up doing the breathing exercise.
Woo, this is a lot. I'm thankful and grateful. I am.
Yeah. Just
watch and see.
Just believe. Have a great night, everyone, and stay in love. Thank
Namaste.
you. Namaste.